All right, everyone, welcome back. It's been a little bit of a week. It's been about a week since I gave you an update or recorded a video. So, just been busy with work and stuff. But I don't know if I'm going to give much of an update to the social media detox thing. We can take a break on that again. I'm still doing it, but nothing real drastic has really changed. Just getting used to not being on my phone all the time, which is kind of enjoyable. I actually got a golf trip coming up, first part of April, going to the Masters. Buddy won some tickets to the female round, ladies round, I guess. But regardless, we get to go to Augusta, right? Get to go walk around and watch, and then we're also making a golf trip out of it. So playing some golf at Pinehurst and some other places on the way up, way back up, maybe some places in West Virginia and stuff. So got that looking forward to. So that's great. So if I recommend anybody that's watching this, just for your 2025, if you can financially, if you can do it, if you have friends, take that trip, right? Because you're going to regret it if you don't. You never get to go on it, right? If you got an opportunity, take that trip, right? Enjoy yourself, live life a little bit. I guess that's kind of the aspect of this video. Not so much on like a dating aspect or even a dad aspect or navigating relationships or failed relationships or marriage issues, right? Whatever we may talk about, throughout this a little stint of a YouTube channel, see how it goes. But regardless, it's something kind of fun to do, get a little bit more skill behind the camera, like I've stated before. And of course, you kind of have a video document of yourself, um, kind of a snapshot in time. Kind of reminds you of the old home videos you used to take on the big old camcorders with the VHS tape, right? But anyway, point of this video, we want to get to the point here. Obviously, is back on the health related. I know I did a video on my personal health journey, right? Not in an aspect of I'm eating better or I'm working out, staying active, but just underlying health elements that I had no direct control over myself. If you want to watch that video, it's on my channel. I'm not gonna do a little pop up or anything like that. I'm not gonna go that far. I mean, I don't have too many videos on this channel, so I'm sure you can search for that where I elaborate a little bit. I thought about doing this video while driving too today. I decided not to. Kind of wanted to decompress after a long day at work, a little bit of travel. It's nice enough out that I got the garage door open, but I am sitting in the back of my pickup, um, and hopefully I got enough juice on this thing. I'm not sure, but yeah, back to my health, right? So sometimes you're dealt with a bad hand, and what can you do with it? I've kind of discussed that and how it really plays a factor not only in your dating life but your personal life, in your friend relationships, etc. One of the big things that I've had to get to adjust to is not drinking. Um, occasionally I'll have a drink. Should I? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. There's a couple different factors. One, originally it was some concerns about my stomach, with the clotting issue that I got and having varices in my stomach and esophagus and alcohol upsetting that. That's probably rare. And then again with the clot in the portal vein and the enlarged spleen, there's always a factor of having a liver issue. You could have a liver issue naturally just by having the clot. I'm talking for myself here, and where this is at. It's an old clot. So to mitigate any further potential damage to my liver, decided not to quit drinking. So I've definitely not. I wouldn't say I'm not a drinker. Do I have occasionally have maybe a bourbon or a beer? Yeah, but ever since I quit about 3 4 years ago, if I have some especially a beer like a domestic, Bud Light, whatever it might be, it just tastes bad. I've gotten really acclimated to non-alcoholic beer. That's usually what I drink. There's some good ones out there. Um, Genesee has a good one that I like. It's cheap too. Most of them now, as long as it's not an O'Doul, and even O'Doul, they've gotten better. But as long as it's not an O'Doul, they're usually pretty flavorful. One I'm on the kick right now is the Michelob Ultra Double Zero, and of course I like the Corona, especially in the summertime, the double out Corona with the lime in it. You can't even taste the difference on those. Lower calorie content, lower carbs. Since I quit drinking, I definitely have lost weight. So the reason for me not drinking is, yeah, for my health, right? And it's played dividends in a lot of other aspects of my life. I'm not going to be up here and say that I sleep so much better. I concentrate better. I think I do, but I don't really. I'm not waking up with a hangover. I'm not groggy. According to my aura ring, I do sleep well. There's an issue personally with eating too late and not letting your heart rate or let your body digest your food and let your heart rate decrease to get that real restful sleep. But yeah, I decided not to drink, and I don't want to like go off on any kind of tangents here. Excuse me. Learn how to speak English. Um, but the point of this is just the alcohol, in my experience, and I'm sure people have said this, is the only drug that you quit that has a social stigma around it, I guess you'd say. Like if you say I don't drink, people kind of look at you weird, right? If you say yeah, I don't do crack cocaine or meth, right? They're like, oh yeah, that's great, that's normal, But even if you say, hey, I don't smoke, right? I do occasionally like a good cigar. I don't see a problem with that currently. Don't smoke cigarettes or vape, but from a drinking aspect, it does get into some weird questions because if you say yeah, I don't do meth, people are like, yeah, they don't really ask any more questions. That's like, yeah, yeah, of course, right? But when you say, well, I don't drink alcohol, like if you're on a date, or even in my case, like talking to my friends, we golf, we're out on the boat, right? We typically drink, right? And this has helped. Not drinking, I think's helped my golf game. I'm not sure, but definitely, being the sober one while operating a vehicle of any kind has been beneficial, right? So, of course, some of my other friends still drink, right? I've influenced them, not by force, right? But they notice, hey, well, maybe I'll even if they're cycling in like a Bud Zero or something like that, occasionally, or a couple of days they'll drink non-alcoholic, and then alcoholic, uh, a beer or whatever, perchance. It's definitely made a positive impact. At the time, I never felt pressured by anybody particular, right? It was just that social stigma that made you feel that pressure, right? And then also you're thinking to yourself, man, how am I going to have fun when I go out, on a date, or hanging out with my boys, or playing poker or golf, or hanging out in the garage. Like that's just part of being a red-blooded American a little bit, is especially from the Midwest, is you drinking a beer in the garage, right? How am I going to have fun, right? I worried about that, and it sounds childish, but I think everybody that has been through this has thought about that a little bit. But you know, putting my health first, especially with having a daughter, helped me with that. And then two, seeing the effects of it on my body physically, from being leaner, looking leaner in the face, things like that, keeps you motivated for sure. Um, to keep doing that. Uh, so I think with my friends it was easier to explain because I was more transparent with what going on, and they definitely understood, right? And I got over the fear of missing out, or the fear of it not being able to socialize. Socialize just fine. I think I socialize even better now, right? Because you are sober, and you might be, you can definitely see the drunk people, and it just makes you a little bit sharper in that aspect. And I come to realize that it's not the alcohol that makes things fun. It's the company you keep, the activities you're doing, the conversations you have, and the memories you make, right? So just being a lot more present. I think part of this social media detox even is just being more present with my boys, especially when we come and go into Augusta, and even not having, you can't even have your phone. I won't care, because it's like I'm not sharing on social media all the time, right? I wouldn't mind taking some photos. I probably still will. I'll probably bring a digital camera, or disposable camera, and take some photos that way. But from a cell phone standpoint, right, which makes sense, people are distracted on it, right? You want to definitely enjoy the moment when you're there, and that's kind of what I do since I don't drink, which is just fantastic. Um, Dating can make it a little bit tough, right? Because obviously when you meet them, yeah, you want to meet for a drink. That drink can be a non-alcoholic drink. You meet up for a Coke, meet them for a coffee, drink whatever you want, technically, right, at a bar, right? I think it's more common now than maybe it even was 4 years ago, of having non-alcoholic options at bars, which is fantastic. And I'm transparent to the point of letting them know I don't drink because just health issue, just not health issues, but just for my health is kind of how I pitch it. And I kind of leave it at that. And if they ask more, I will elaborate to an extent, but I always make it a rule that, hey, you're gonna, that part of my life, personal health, personal relationships with my daughter, meeting my friends, things like that. That's not a necessary boundary, but that you got to earn that, right? And that's kind of what I've learned is, through the vetting stage and the dating stage. It's something I'm not going to just vomit to somebody, to a date, on the first date, or the second date, or maybe even the third date. This is, where it's coming to the point of, this could work out to be something long term, or into a relationship, right? Definitely need to be transparent where I'm at with all that, and some of the other underlying factors that it may apply, with that. That's why, I can get in that into a later video, but some other things that this kind of could affect from a dating perspective. But this just, not drinking alcohol at all, which, I don't have a problem with people drink around me. It's not like I'm an alcoholic. That's usually the biggest thing people think, is like, oh, you don't drink because you had a problem. It's like, no, I didn't have a problem, just health concerns. Like, I don't, I don't have an addictive personality per se. I'm not a gambler. I do play poker and all that stuff, but I'm not like an habitual gambler where I got to buy scratch offs, or I got to buy the lottery, or pull tabs, or whatever it might be. Um, but yeah, from a drinking standpoint, if there's dating, that's the dating perspective. At that is probably the hardest conversation to get around, because you don't want to be awkward when they bring it up. So it takes some practice. You got to be prepared on what you're going to say and what they may respond with. I haven't had anything negative. Have I had some people where I've elaborated a little bit too much too soon, and then they decided not to continue to date me? Yes, that has happened, and that's a risk you got to be willing to take, and that's a risk I am willing to take, and it just wasn't meant to be, right? It's kind of how you can look at it. Um, and back to that one, the one last thing I want to elaborate before I get off here is, since I stopped drinking, especially maybe early on, maybe halfway through, I mean, I still see it now, but I think I've gotten immune to it. Is just how prominent alcohol is in everybody's daily lives, right? Sporting events, um, family get-togethers, holidays, right? Just the social norm of casually drinking to binge drinking to just getting drunk, and it's not that big of a deal. But detoxing from alcohol, if you're an alcoholic and you're that far, is a lot tougher than any other drug, that I really know of, even potentially probably like heroin or fentanyl or meth. And I'm just going back from what I learned in college a little bit from a drugs in American society course I took years ago. Right. And it's just prevalent, right? I mean, it's to the point where, like I said, I deal with more weird looks from strangers or bartenders or other people when the conversation comes up that I don't drink, then obviously my friends understand, right? Because they understand, and my family understands because of the health elements. But it's weird, in commercials, right? Everything's just more prominent, sticks out, right? And it's not. It can be classy, right? But it also can be a little trashy, in an aspect. Um, I don't think there's a problem with having a good drink to celebrate an occasion, or a success, or something like that. But going too far, maybe it's the older millennial in me speaking, but just kind of beyond that point. But it seems like it's more in your face with stuff. And I like the how it's coming around, where we have a lot more non-alcoholic options. That seems to be popular, and I don't think it's going to go away. Um, Not necessarily because people want to just totally quit, but maybe they just want to cycle it through, right? Take a week off, right? Take a day off. Hell, some people can't even take a day off, right, without having a cold one, or a shot of whiskey, or wine, right? Um, so yeah, that's kind of the graps of my video is a little bit of social stigma around not drinking, and how I try to handle the awkward situations, right? And obviously being prepared, being honest, transparent, and trusting yourself in some of these hard decisions, right? And having your back yourself, right? No one else is going to have your back sometimes. It's going to be up to you. You got to keep yourself honest, and you're doing it for a reason. You just got to keep that reason in mind, whether it's because you have a problem, or it's health related, or it's just, hey, I want to do a month of sobriety. That's perfectly fine. Me, if I didn't have this health element, you know, I would probably still be drinking, and I wouldn't probably have the gains I have in the gym. I wouldn't have probably the relationships I have. Um, and obviously being more sharp when it comes to my career as well. So there's more benefits than not, right? I don't know if I've really heard anybody that's quit alcohol for the right reason. It's kind of like social media, that their life got worse when they stopped drinking. you know, it's usually the other way around. So with that, I'll leave it to you. You want to, like the video, make a comment. Feel free to do that. Until next time, stay safe, and stay healthy. Thanks.